Hi, I'm Mycroft Holmes again,
And I'm
and I changed our
111.
characters. I changed our characters' clothes to something I got with a patron pack. I'm actually have a monthly subscription to this, so
Well, sure wasn't in our yearly budget to put the town under martial law.
Or buy
No, the good
military
old
gear
boys
from
on
the
the
looks of it.
council were all about thrifty spending, at least
well,
for
this is
some.
post 9/11.
So
The,
I
the military was
suggested
pretty much
pay where
giving
I
this
could
shit
for
away.
some surveillance equipment.
Yeah.
Police business, sure. Let's call it civic awareness. I'm
Yeah, it's
talking
just,
your
I don't know.
webcams,
That's
your
not
motion
something that I
sensors.
think that
Oh, don't
I'd
look so
find in my own
surprised. Kingsmouth
local,
might be out in the sticks,
that's
but
like
we
a
have
sniper
electricity
rifle.
and everything.
They
Running
don't
water
really
and
issue to
tourist
that,
season.
just
Come
to
back
like
when this whole damn mess is blown
county,
over, I'll give you the tour far as the
like a
Ohio.
county sheriff.
But to get to the point of it, seems to me we should bring
Or
that
maybe she
gear
just
out of
purchased it
mothballs
on
and get
like
it hooked up
from
around
Circle
town.
Store or something.
Gives me some early warning and the others a break from my collection of Jeopardy reruns.
And she goes into detail about the Jeopardy reruns, and that is what makes her one of my favorite characters in this area. So it's such a good way to remind people there's part of the outside world. Is just have them sit them down in front of a quiz show.
You might want to pause at that phone book because it has a shitload of Stephen King and H.P. Lovecraft references.
This is Stephen King and H.P. Lovecraft reference. This map specifically is real thick with that.
Not even that. There is one of the streets in town, Belmont Avenue, after Castlevania.
I think there's a King Drive and a Lovecraft Lane too.
Yes. They weren't very subtle.
They didn't hold back.
And here's the first of the platforming, where I fail several times.
I swear, I vaguely remember struggling to do this or something similar to it, and having to like look up a guide.
Oh, the Egyptian pyramids are terrible in this game. I fucking hate them. It's jump pads and levers and oh my god, it's terrible.
And maybe that might be another thing I just blocked out, because I don't think I actually spent much time. Oh, okay. Let's not get into that until we get into that, you know. But that's the thing that's gonna be coming up.
So essentially these first few missions are zombies. But one of the missions we get, two of the missions we do here get a little deeper. And you can tell if you look at the names of some of the enemies, they aren't all Return Towny. Some have different names. And this is me just brain farting on where's the camera?
Oh, I remember this goddamn museum.
Oh yeah, it's on the roof.
Some puzzles I'm good at. Some puzzles I am garbage at. And this game does have a lot of puzzles that I have to look up that make me really grateful that they have an in-game browser, so I can look up a guide to this game from within the game.
So we are about to have our first interaction with someone infected with the filth. At least as this character.
Well, you know, as in person. They did have that dream sequence.
Mm-hmm.
I think you should go away. You should go away now. You need to go away because I'm not feeling very stable right now.
Well, at least he's lucid.
And this is the first of the stealth sequences in the game, where we have to not get noticed by cameras. I ace it. But only because I literally ran through this part earlier with a high-level character. So I knew it. That's what I've been doing for all of these, because some of these puzzles are... Hope you have the Bible handy, because you gotta check fucking...
James 10:10. James 10:10.
James 10:10.
Yeah. Ezekiel 23:20. Read it out loud for the crew, and hope that you're reading it right too. A lot of these are really clever, and a lot of them aren't. They had to pull out a lot of
Also,
it.
some are in Latin, and it's never spelled correctly. So,
Yes.
I hope you know Latin.
Well, they spell Latin about as well as the people who would, how do I put this? The bad spelling is in character for the most part when it shows up. But at least it isn't. I'm not without going into too many spoilers. There's a puzzle later on where you have to translate a letter from Romanian. That's pretty wild. Yeah, I do not remember the sequence being in the original. Then,
And that's my little stealth achievement. There are a bunch of in-game achievements that you've been seeing pop up.
sane survivors.
And that's explosive shot. And that's some sort of filth thing. I don't know what it is.
Our vision flows so sweet. Taste and see.
Yeah,
That's how you know it's kicking it off.
Yeah, that's how every one of the little B couplets, lore couplets, starts.
God, I gotta dig one of those up and just read it for the class, because they are... depending on how serious you're taking any of this, it can be just bizarre to hear. Here's the filth one. And by the way, every time I pause, it's switching between all caps and all lowercase. Transmit, initiate cephalopod signal. Receive, initiate Cuddle Ink frequency. Handle with care, initiate the Chernobyl syntax. Avoid contact with skin. Initiate the eel mucus lexicon. Harmful if fatal or swallowed. Flip the ace of ruin. Witness the filth. And there's dozens of these like categories in this game, and all of them open with that style of like free association introductions.
And it's great because you get a real sense of what they're about to say just from that little
Yeah, like if you were, in theory, what I just read is actually full of spoilers, but it's one of those things where you can't. You in order for it to be a spoiler, it would have to have context you don't have yet. So it's kind of meaningless until you get to the point where it's not really a spoiler anymore, if that makes sense.
But just hearing it, you can tell, initiate the Chernobyl sequence, the Chernobyl syntax, keep out of contact with skin. You can tell the filth is an infection of some sort.
And you can also hear from cephalopod signal and Cuddle Ink that an eel mucus lexicon. There is something aquatic about it. Hey, the Council of Venice, who are here doing nothing as always.
Well, we'll find out more about them later, but they're kind of not allowed to do anything.
Yeah,
They're like the UN. They're like the UN, you know.
they are. They're like the UN in that they could do a whole lot if any part of them could actually work together. And there are some. They do have some firepower, but it just never comes up. I do like how you're just.
This is the interface for all computers.
Just kind of amusing. But it's equally amusing that you're doing this right in front of her, just getting into her system and reading her files. Which is it's standard video game practice, but that's the sort of thing that just makes me kind of giggle every time I see it.
I think at this point she's got more things to worry about than some random dude reading her files.
But that is entirely fair. Yeah. Oh, this, man. Is that the like level up screen and the upgrade screen?
Yes.
The original was so different. The original was a wheel with
Oh yes, it
several
was
sections.
a very complicated wheel, and it was terrible.
Yeah.
But now it's a more traditional upgrade screen.
Jeez, you never saw anything like this in the cop shows. Well, maybe on cable.
One
Not
thing
that
I
it
like
was
is they
nice.
got,
You wouldn't know it from looking
you
at
know,
it.
This is
Northeastern
one of
voice
my-
actors.
Wicked bad fog rolled in.
I'm waiting for
Kingsmouth
one
was
of
a
my
sleepy little
favorite
burg.
lines that are
Nothing
kind of dumb, but I
stronger on the
love them
streets than
anyway.
A hot cup of coffee and chocolate glazed donuts from Susie's. The occasional DUI or domestic disturbance. Human sacrifice. But every
There
town
you
has
go.
a dark side, right? We sure are getting a heaped help in the darkness now, eh? The Walking Dead and worse besides taking over our town. Us survivors hold up in here, hoping it's all just a bad dream and we'll wake up to the smell of bacon and maple syrup. But unless someone ups and does something, and soon, all we're gonna wake up to is the smell of rotten flesh. And I don't need another thing to remind me of my dad. Halloween does bring back the memories, eh?
Oh, that's right. Didn't it hit on Halloween?
Stay safe.
I believe so. Yeah, that's why there's pumpkins everywhere.
It's a really shitty November.
What do you mean November? Halloween's in October.
Yeah, it was the 31st. And it happened a
Oh.
while ago.
Oh right, that's what you were saying. I was like, is there another Halloween holiday?
There are people out there who would like as many Halloweens as possible. I can understand that.
You gotta get to the north barricades before they do.
She just came up and bitch slapped me.
It's funny that the game kind of. I'm not sure how much they lean into this, but it seems that they acknowledge in game that in the dialogue there are people with the societies who are crawling in and helping out and shooting zombies and such, and they don't. Is that something that you is? I mean, I haven't played this in a while. Is that something that comes up again, or is it just like where
I don't know what exactly you mean.
So, like, at a couple of times they mention, like, you people are moving along and moving through.
Oh
here.
yes. There's a couple other times there are other secret worlders are mentioned. If you pay attention to the video, there's a lady with twin pistols and a katana standing in the sheriff's parking lot. She's just an NPC, so I'm assuming she's like some agent.
A random dragon.
Of course, you're the one who actually does everything.
This is a video game.
Yeah.
And
Taking another barricade apart.
let me see if I can remember. I remember there being a billion achievements in the original too. Like 10
Oh, yeah,
zombies,
there are.
50 zombies, 100, 200, 500. And just building up
what you're seeing, some of what you're seeing though is the daily challenges, which are like kill 50 monsters, then kill 100 monsters, and those get you marks of favor, which I'll probably use to buy sprint upgrades.
I do
'Cause
not.
we sprint kind of slowly at the beginning.
Yeah, that's. And I do remember. I think you do get like run modes later on. Appropriately.
Yeah. Yeah, you can get all sorts of like flavors for your sprint. And when we get to the end of this street, there is our first non-human enemy. And we're going to learn more about these folks. Would you like to say some words about the Drugar?
So the actual Drugar, instead of this
The Drow, rather.
Drog, technically. That's okay. I posted in the thread about the Vengeful Dead myth and vampires and zombies. The Drog are that the equivalent from Scandinavia, and they were famous for coming back to life within their tombs and killing trespassers or people who come nearby them. If you've played
If you've ever played Skyrim,
yeah,
yeah, if you've played Skyrim, you've seen them before.
Mhm.
And I just had an insane deja vu moment. What the hell? Sorry, I could have sworn I've been in this exact scenario before with you saying that exact same thing.
Not to,
My brain hurts now.
not to my knowledge.
I know,
If
and that's
there's
what makes it weird.
If there's a
That's
game
a secret
that's-
world moment right there.
Yeah, exactly. If there's a game where
That's a
that's
secret-
appropriate, it's this one. Yeah. But if you saw that huge crab thing, that's not exactly what a Draugr is supposed to look like. Actually, this is gonna seem completely unrelated, but it'll loop back around. Are you familiar with elves in Iceland? Oh, take a look to that guy at the left.
Yes, I'm more familiar with like Icelandic trolls and the Yule lads than elves.
So there's a very common. I'm not sure it's not strictly like maybe elves isn't the right word, but more like fair folk or little folk or basically fairies.
Additional assignment received. Initializing.
That's new. That particular interface. And throughout Iceland, there's the belief in the fair folk, in people living in mounds, and that particular group of supernatural like life is so widespread. It's actually enshrined in law. Like you cannot,
Yes.
you have to route around their burrows while building highways and such. And it's not like it doesn't really get in the way, and it's not horrifying or like backward or anything. It's just a thing that they listen to a lot. But they also have Draugr, which are it's a Wendigo.
Yeah, this is also our first encounter with the Wendigo. There is a Native American tribe, the Wabanaki, on this island. I think they're actually named after a real tribe, I'm not sure.
They're named after a
But,
tribal confederation that's still around,
Oh.
but they're not an actual tribe. It's like
Oh, okay.
it's like if somebody went to the town of Illinois.
Okay. But, yeah, Wendigos are in this as well. There's a bunch of Native American stuff in later main maps that we'll be seeing. But back to the Draugr.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's one of the last places where any kind of Draugr mythology is preserved. In Scandinavia itself, there's still little bits and pieces of like Scandinavian mythology. I'd call it Norse mythology, but then there'd be people I know who would start yelling at me about Germanics, and I'm not going to get into that. But that's where.
Yeah,
that's
I had
where-
a little brain fart near here because I thought there was lore on top of this mountain. I seem to remember there being, and there wasn't. So here's just me jumping on top of a mountain and looking like an idiot.
Yeah, well, you didn't get a great view, but you got a view. And it is
the area
very
we
nice.
passed. Yeah, it is. It's a decent looking game even all these years later. And what we're looking at.
Special assignment.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Initializing.
Yeah, this is the Wispwood. It's got wisps and it's got a lot of pumpkins. And there's a later mission where we'll come back here and see a certain someone you might know.
Or at least somebody based on somebody you might know.
Yes. You
It's-
might know
it's-
who he is just by the fact there's a shitload of pumpkins.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's not the guy from A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Well, it's somebody vaguely similar, except
Yeah.
probably would not find Jack Skellington trying to attack in this setting. That would be a tonal.
Nah,
mismatch.
he's in Kingdom Hearts though. He's in Kingdom Hearts 2, I think.
Yeah, he definitely is. Look, I love Kingdom Hearts, but I will never accuse it of being thematically consistent.
Oh god, no. It's what
Like-
happens when you have 70 years of Disney history.
and Final Fantasy, and you ignore that to establish your own nonsensical canon. It's gotten to the point where you can have entire conversations in their weird made up lingo that aren't barely resemble English anymore because you just subbed out all the nouns. It is crazy.
This is Miss Norma Creed, and she's a character.
Oh, yeah. You'd think these wet bits would just fizzle on the bonfire, but no. They sparkle like kindling wood. That's heartening. Ah, geez, what a mess. Good thing
Just
I'm not
inner house coat.
Now I'm used to getting my hands dirty.
Just, you know,
Fish guts, childbirth, sutures, the dead.
just
Maybe I was born for this work.
there you go.
Ah, that don't sound right. Nobody's made for this ungodly work.
Well,
When I think of
strictly
New England,
speaking,
I think of someone like this.
So
You
I
think of what?
kill 'em, chop
When I
'em,
think of New England, I think of someone like
for every
this.
day, and I feel like I'm pushing a very big stone up a very steep mountain, and it keeps rolling back down. What do you call that? Sisyphean?
you got them.
Or is that when you get a burning in your privates? My idea of culture is reruns of Cheers and, you know, not ancient Greek mythology.
And yet you knew that off the
Well,
top
old
of your
guy
head.
ain't a proper match for everything that turns up.
It's
on
the sort of thing you know if you live in a place like Kingsmouth, which is full of the fucking Illuminati.
Guts
Yeah.
all over the place. Well, there's no time to gather it all up before we're right back up in the thick of it. And they never stop coming. They never stop coming.
And they don't stop coming. And they don't stop coming.
High fives all around. Good job, everybody.
I was gonna go get the lore, but I would have failed the mission. I get it later, though.
I will never stop being amused by models running into things and their running animation going full bore even after they stop moving.
And now we have some other zombies. Solomon Death Cultists.
Yeah. We're going to be seeing a lot of cultists in this game.
And unearthed mobs. Solomon has some history that we'll be seeing.
Yep. There's a lot of... Can't see the name past as that.
No, these are more ravenous hordes.
Yeah. King Solomon himself is weird. I have, for somebody who's supposed to be wise, he, according to legend at least, did quite a bit of demon summoning. People made grimoires in the Middle Ages and named them after him because he was apparently the kind of guy who would tame demons and use them to build his temple.
We'll see more of that when we get to Egypt.
I don't know how to feel about this just being a part of the mission, that you just casually go up and pick up body parts.
Yeah, but I'm guessing that's something you're going to have to get used to if you become the agent for a secret organization.
That's fair. Oh yeah, Animalwells. That's actually probably worth noting, because as a bee, you cannot die. You just respawn. This is something that is that comes up frequently in game as a member of the secret societies. Well, as they can and do throw you into dangerous situations, expecting you to die because you can just, you know, come back.
And there's also the fact that you use those as teleport points, and they're free if you're a patron. And I'm a patron, so it was free, and I don't have to spend anima shards.
That was universally free in the old version. That's a little disappointing to hear. That just makes things so much harder. How hard anima shards? Like,
You get them whenever you complete any sort of mission.
okay, so they're not terribly difficult to get your hands on.
No. Missions do still have an 8-hour cooldown for each one, but there's enough missions in the game that you're never going to go wanting for stuff to do.
Yeah, the game kind of implies, or at least maybe used to, that you just every time you jump into an animal, you're like either killing or dissolving yourself, and then just reconstituting yourself elsewhere. I'm not sure if that's still a thing, or if I'm just misremembering something else.
I don't know, it's been forever since I looked at the lore book, and I don't have all the lore anyway, because some of it is a pain in the ass to get. I had to grind for an hour once just to get a lore drop from one type of zombie.
And for this kind of thing, again, as we've mentioned multiple times, you can literally just Google it if you want to learn it. So it is, which it's a plus and a it's a plus and a minus, because it means that you don't get stuck and lose you don't suffer in learning lore for not being able to complete game challenges, but it also makes it a lot less meaningful in game.
Well, there used to be something really cool you could unlock if you got all the lore. It was a Oxford tweed professor outfit. And that is only available if you go back to the original game and do all that, and then import it to your account.
I remember
the new version they have in this game for collecting all the lore is neon green.
That's sad. That's not nobody. Like, this isn't cyber. Well, actually, it could be cyberpunk in the right interpretation. Like, depending on, but that's another thing anyway. But I remember there was also like a museum you can unlock. I know it was in London for Templars. I don't know if it made it into Legends.
It did.
Okay. So
and there's certain items that drop from enemies that you can use to improve museum exhibits and stuff like that. But museums are insanely expensive in terms of anima, so they want you to do a lot of grinding.
And I swear that there was something related to unlocking things with lore for the museum.
Yes. To unlock the statues, you need to have killed a certain amount of enemies and gotten certain amounts of lore. Like, you need all the Draugr lore to unlock the Draugr statue. And then higher levels of the Draugr statue require lore on, I don't know, different types of Draugr or something. I forget. It's been a while.
And yeah, they do subdivide as far as topics go. So you'll get like one.
Don't worry, we'll see that very much later after we complete the single player. I will go to the museum and show you everything we've unlocked, or I might show you it with my upgraded character.
There's some weird things
this
happening.
video is shorter than I want them to be. This is less than an hour. This is 37 minutes. I usually like to go for an hour, but I didn't turn on my little timer, so I had no idea how long I was recording for, and I'd rather have a too short video than a too long video.
Reawakened cultists. Yeah. There were some weird things happening in this island. Hoping that we see a Wendigo again. Do we see a Wendigo anytime soon? Because I do have a little bit. Not yet.
No, they become more common next map. The only other one on this map is like a boss, and I'm not about to face a boss.
Yeah.
Because there's all sorts of mini bosses they put on these maps, and some of them are more difficult than others. I have a level 50 character, and I still can't defeat one in like the first Egypt map.
Yeah. This game's design can be really just not very well thought out at times.
I call it inconsistent.
Somebody
I call it inconsistent.
Go ahead.
Because sometimes it's great and sometimes it's like, why would you do that?
I have a...
But the lore and the writing really makes up for any problems.
Yeah.
And now that they changed the combat to be much simpler, it's...
Reanimated warrior.
Notice his garb.
Yeah, his not wearing... That's not the sort of thing that people get buried in nowadays. I remember these, they have collect 20 bare asses type quests, but they usually have... They're usually a lot more bearable than just kill this many for a screen of text. This many monsters for a screen of text. They usually have like these mini missions have like a side missions have a plot structure to them.
Oh, well, we did one of the side missions already. That was the Wendigo thing. What you're seeing are randomly generated enter this area little quests that you automatically get.
I remember there being a few of those, but only like 1 or 2 per, like... In this game, you move a lot between, I don't know what the term is, hub areas? Just areas where there's 2-3 NPCs nestled together with a couple of outlying ones. And I remember there being maybe 1 or 2 for each of those, like, areas. And otherwise, the rest is... And there were plenty of proper side missions with longer, like... that aren't just kill so many monsters that do respawn over time, but those were also present.
And here I'm just gonna animal teleport.
Yeah, by the way, I don't think we've talked too much about it, but anima is the source of this game's magic. Like I mentioned last time, people shoot. People aren't exactly shooting bullets; they're shooting magic. That's the force that they're using to. The name of the force that they're using to cast spells and shoot magic bullets and that sort of thing.
Having a conversation with them. Name's Nama Creed. Raised a family up here before this dungeon thick fog took him, is my story. Helen sent you over to check on me, I reckon.
Creed.
Your concern is wicked kind.
Wicked kind.
I got my shotgun. I got
it's appropriately New Englander there.
I'll manage.
I am certain that name's a reference to something.
Hullabaloo began after the Lady Margaret came back.
Oh, there's a dungeon. Are you going to be doing it? Probably not, because it's like a raid.
But the sea took them.
I believe that's no longer a dungeon here.
Town could finally breathe again. But then came that fog, like it was following them back to shore.
I believe. I wouldn't know. I don't really do the dungeons because they are... Well, a lot of the early story dungeons I was too overleveled for by the time I wanted to do them. So...
Probably heard it on Oprah. Never got to ask Larry about what happened in those weeks they were gone. Been around gift horses long enough not to look him in the mouth. He was back. Thought life would go on the way life goes on, one day at a time. When the fog lifts enough to see the Lady Margaret laid up in the harbor, covered in that red seaweed, I always wonder if he'd still be here if I had.
Well, yeah, I swear the name Norma Creed is a reference to something related to horror movies. It sounds really familiar. I'm not actually a horror person, outside of like a few exceptions. Does that strike any bells for you?
It sounds vaguely familiar, but in the same way it does to you.
Mm-hmm. Because this is this area is thick on the ground with references to certain kinds of horror.
Oh, just wait till we meet the... I don't know if he counts as a mad professor, but just wait till we meet that guy.
Yes. People in that... I do love... The people in that academy are wonderful.
Yes. I think it's literally called Innsmouth Academy.
I think it's called even...
Or whatever.
It's something even more on the nose. I swear. But it is really, 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 it's... Let's just say there's a lot of Illuminati influence in this area. Also, a lot of gurgling monsters. Fager, I think... First of all, I'm pretty sure that R is a plural in Old Norse, so I'm not sure... Like, there's a thing where it's not supposed to be pronounced in certain circumstances, and I just don't remember the details. I can probably dig that up before the next video. But, I think it's something to do with, like a witch. Yeah, it means supernatural and otherworldly. Also worth noting, whenever you see something that has a roadie, whenever you see something that has a Scandinavian name, it's A, really, really ocean looking, and B, really old looking. And that's going to be increasingly relevant as time goes on.
They recommend I be level 9 for this, but they forgot I can just teleport.
The perils of building an MMO is just too much to keep track of.
And that's our last little thing. We will meet more people later. Got about 20 seconds till the video ends, so thank you for watching.
And thank you for watching. This is Falconeer111.
And I'm Mycroft Holmes.
And see you next time.
See you next time.